Back in 1992, the late, great Justice Antonin Scalia, in a case United States versus Williams, ruled for the majority of the Supreme Court. He held, importantly, the grand jury belongs to the American people, not the three branches of government. By extension, that means that the American people have the right, as they did before the Justice Department came into existence on July 1st, 1870, to mete out the rule of law themselves, not just with regard to man-made law, but with regard to law of nature and nature's God. And you might remember that in our Declaration of Independence, it says that when the sovereign no longer represents the people under the laws of nature and nature's God, not man-made law, that we have the right to abolish the government and to form a new government by and for the people in pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. It's time that we do so now. Yes, President Trump has been elected. Yes, there's great hope in the future. He's going to need our support. And in fact, Pam Bondi is an excellent choice for Attorney General, is not going to bring prosecutions to hold the guilty accountable that have committed lawfare, that have weaponized our legal system, that have used our legal system as a tool against conservatives, libertarians, people of faith, and those who believe in the vision and creation of our founding fathers. We saw what happened to President Trump over the last several years. This is not new. It was trained on him. But the weaponization of our legal system has been around for a very long time. It just reached a higher level. And just today, we saw this vile judge in New York City sentence President Trump, even though he's going to be taking the oath of office on January 20th, not waiting for President Trump to become president to fill out his term. The whole point, this leftist judge whose daughter works for the Democrat Party, Juan Maron, completely corrupt, top to bottom, not unique in New York and its legal system, which is a corrupt cesspool as it is in the District of Columbia. He did this to damage President Trump, to mar his reelection and his inauguration, and to really give the left a chance to continue to beat up on our great president. He needs to be held accountable. So too does Alvin Bragg, that overstuffed prosecutor, that overstuffed DEI prosecutor, propped up by George Soros in New York City, who brought the phony prosecution of President Trump. There's no doubt that he needs to be held accountable as well. He won't stop. He's continuing on. And then you got Fani Willis, another DEI favorite down there in Atlanta, who, since has been disqualified, bringing false election claims against President Trump as well. These people, in addition to California Governor Gavin Newsom, who is responsible for the destruction of LA because he did not do his job as governor and provide for water and other means to fight large fires in Los Angeles County, he must be tried and convicted for criminal negligence. So too, Attorney General Merrick Garland, who's waged this lawfare against President Trump and others. And of course, there's FBI Director Christopher Wray over what he did with regard to January 6th, persecuting peaceful protesters while terrorists were on the loose, and we saw what happened in New Orleans just a week or so ago, and that goes for Merrick Garland as well. And let's not forget Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We've already indicted them, at least Biden and his son and his brother, for bribery from Communist China, Ukraine, and Russia. He was tried. He was convicted. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison for that, and also for negligent homicide in Afghanistan. And Dr. Anthony Fauci, who we've called the modern-day Dr. Mengele, for his actions with regard to COVID-19 that resulted in the death, thus far and counting, of over 20 million people in the United States and worldwide. The bottom line is this, fellow patriots, fellow supporters of Freedom Watch and America's Sheriff and other organizations which I run and founded. The fact is that we, the people, must rise up ourselves. We have to do it for ourselves. And I'm calling upon you to contact me at freedomwatchusa.org to see if you would like to sit on a citizens' grand jury. We would be most honored to have you. We certainly need the jurors. We want you to participate in bringing about justice and meting out justice. If you've not been convicted of a felony, of course, that may not even be the case when you have somebody like Maron that really matters in terms of what really happened. But if you have not been convicted of a felony and will take an oath of office to be fair, we will include you in one of our citizens' grand juries, and also as a petit jury when the matter goes to trial, a criminal trial, I might add. The fact is that once we get convictions, we can carry out the sentences that later are imposed. There is a right of citizens' arrest in this country in 48 states. When you see somebody committing a felony or know of a felony, you can arrest them and turn them over to established law enforcement. We're looking also for established law enforcement to come forward to carry out these convictions. Already Joe Biden convicted with his brother and Hunter for communist China, Ukraine, and Russia pumping money into the coffers of the Biden crime family and negligent homicide in Afghanistan. Fauci for negligent homicide with COVID-19. And yes, before that, Robert Mueller with regard to the Russian collusion witch hunt. We are your first line of defense. We are your first line to hold people accountable to the rule of law. Freedom Watch is not afraid. Larry Klayman is not afraid. People that work with me are not afraid. And make no mistake about it, President Trump is going to be president, but the left will be coming for him with a vengeance. The lawfare will continue with leftist Democrat district attorneys throughout this country. If not Alvin Bragg, if not Fani Willis, there'll be others. The left is regrouping like a colony of cockroaches, as I've said. Only a nuclear blast could even slow them down. They'll never get rid of them. These people are there. They're entrenched in our system. They must be removed from our body politic before it's too late. They're like a cancer that has destroyed this country. And of course, we've seen what happened to LA. These were leftists in LA, and the governor, Gavin Newsom, who simply diverted water to LA to protect, allegedly, an endangered species called the smeltfish. Now, frankly, who cares about the smeltfish? Now we have at least 10 people dead in Los Angeles. It's going to rise much more than that. We've got billions, if not trillions, of damage. We've got a great American city that's been brought to its knees, and the matter's getting even worse as I speak. Freedom Watch needs you. We need to stand in the stead, not just for President Trump, but for ourselves, for our children and grandchildren, for anybody who believes in the rule of law, anybody who believes in our democracy, not the stupid statements of Joe Biden about democracy or people abusing, their position in office. This man is the biggest criminal in the history of the United States. He's the worst president in the history of the United States. His accomplice, Kamala Harris, is an absolute disgrace. And so are the people that work for him in his so-called administration, otherwise known as a regime. These people must be held accountable. If President Trump is not going to mete out retribution, we certainly will, because that's the only way there'll be justice. People need to be held to account. People need to be tried, convicted, sentenced, and put in prison where they belong. So I want you to join me. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Let me know if you want to be a citizen's grand juror. My email is leklayman@gmail.com. You can also sign up at freedomwatchusa.org. Freedom Watch needs you, just like Uncle Sam needed you during the Second World War. We are waging a war against the left. So far, at least in recent months, we're a little bit ahead. But the left will be back, like with a vengeance, like the Force in Star Wars, like cockroaches that they are. We must rise up now before it's too late and get rid of them peacefully and legally. They're a disease. They're a cancer. They've destroyed everything, whether it's the border and sex traffickers, humans traffickers, and drug traffickers coming across the border, now terrorists, whether it's our legal system, which has been rendered a joke, and it's not just the Justice Department, it's bar associations in the District of Columbia and New York that are trying to eliminate conservative and libertarian and other lawyers that don't agree to the leftist agenda from the practice of law, so we can't defend ourselves, whether it's what they've done to our children, pushing perversion on our children, homosexuality, lesbianism, transgenderism behind the backs of parents, whether it's letting our military decline to the point that we're at the risk of annihilation from Iran, which is on the verge of a nuclear weapon. I can go on and on and on. So President Trump needs our support. Freedom Watch needs our support, your support. And of course, if you care about your kids and grandkids and yourselves, you'll rise up now. And even if you're young or middle-aged, please join us at freedomwatchusa.org. That's my message. We will prosecute these criminals. We will hold them accountable. We will try them. We will fry them. We will seek to put them away where the sun don't shine, where they can no longer harm us. Already, we saw what happened during the presidential campaign. 2 attempts to kill the president. You think that was an accident? Biden and Harris wanted it to happen. The Democrats wanted it to happen. They wouldn't give the president adequate security so somebody else could do it. And who knows if it wasn't an inside job. No one's been held accountable. And Biden thinks he's going to run off into the sunset, and that'll be it. Well, he's got something coming for him. And so does Kamala Harris and the rest of the criminals in this regime that need to go to prison. God bless you. God bless America. God save America. Remember, the Father and Son will help us only if we help ourselves. Thank you for listening to me. I'll be back this Monday with another special podcast. Until then, stay safe. And we must rise up. We must do what we have to do to preserve the liberty and freedom which our founding fathers bequeathed to us. Thank you for listening to me.